The Fergati's method for weeding out pretenders to discourse, who are unfit to participate because of their lack of knowledge. I have an empirical test, and we don't have to name political parties, identities, affiliations. None of it is required. And my method can go considerable distance toward ridding the society of the political problems that we seem to be stuck with. Now, it's nothing new to me. It's a method that I've been articulating in all sorts of different ways for at least the past year on this YouTube channel. We can say that it's really only to tell the truth. But in my method of telling the truth, we are actually able to trace the living essence, the structure of the truth telling by means of candor regarding unarticulated presuppositions that tend quite pervasively to remain unarticulated because they are not so fun to think about. These unarticulated presuppositions. For example, here's an unarticulated presupposition. That kind of sex is dirty. That's a sentence. We can spell it. Put it in quotation marks. That kind of sex, comma, is dirty. Period. End quotation. Good. Now, of course, we can hear arguments about such things. However, my hypothesis, and it is merely a hypothesis, but it is rooted in my own experience. I won't talk to you about anything I have not gone through myself. I don't really like talking about my experience in psychoanalysis, not because there's anything that I wouldn't share. I used to try to convince my therapists that we could record the sessions, and because I thought it would be dynamite analytical work. It would be objectively much more efficient to be able to work on a running transcript and to be able to refer back and so on to see like what you're overlooking and what things come up that you repeatedly avoid and things like that. But of course, the therapists, they never go in for it. I think that without speculating too much, I imagine that they just probably dismiss it as being a naive, liability ignorant position to take, that they have medical liabilities and so on. But I really don't know the reason, because I think it's preposterous that sessions of talk therapy are not recorded, transcribed, and then worked on as proper analytical science. I mean, that's what we're doing, trying to solve problems that we see in our life, right? Like, we have empiricism. That's what it's for. Empiricism. So there are unarticulated presuppositions that influence our thinking, and we might be aware that it influences our thinking, but on the other hand, there are certain categories, and I would wager to assert that they're mainly related to sex, the experience of sex, past sexual experiences, sexual relationships that either did exist or do now exist or will exist in the future. All the presuppositions related to these assumptions regarding one's own sexual health, one's own sexual experience in life, these remain unarticulated presuppositions because, good Lord, I mean, are you happy with your sex life? Do you even know how to answer that question? If I told you that I felt or that I feel any particular way about my sex life, you will either think that I'm oversharing and that I'm looking for a friend, that I'm looking for therapy, what else? You know? I mean, what would you think of yourself? Let's see. Or that I'm congratulating myself. I guess that's the main one that I worry about these days, is that I come off like I'm, what's the expression? All that and a bag of chips. Where'd that come from? No, I think, but I will say this about psychoanalysis. First of all, I did it on the couch, classical way, for many years. And I was very aggressive through the end, and I only stopped about, it's about a year ago, actually. So in my case, I was always going in very aggressively, being bold and aggressive, trying to, like break barriers, as it were, like really be hard on myself, talk about things, but not talk about eating my own boogers. I mean, look, what child has not done such a thing? What adult has not done such a thing? Now, look, there are bad habits and then there are bad habits. I'm sure there is plenty of bad habits that I'm not even aware exist, that are perfectly inconsequential, that maybe you participate in yourself, or, you manifest, I don't know, what's the word? Display, and it might not seem like a big deal to me, and it might seem like a big deal to you. Or somebody else might want to kill you about it, and the other person will laugh. So, the way it happened to unfold with me in psychoanalysis is that the hardest thing for me, the hardest burden for me to carry was all my life. There was nobody that I could talk to about my mother having barged in on me when I was masturbating when I was 11 years old. And I carried that with me. I literally didn't tell a soul because I had no one to tell. No context for safe speech was presented to me. No plausible avenue was presented. See, usually it's framed in terms of unconscious memories and excavating unconscious memories. I mean, that's certainly never the way it worked with me. I mean, the very things that people say that they have to work to excavate, those are the things that run my life, that burn my consciousness. Those are the things that I think about nonstop every day, all day. And so when you think about having been barged in on by your mother while you're masturbating when you're 11 years old, and that's the only thing that you think about for the next 39 years, well, to say that it makes you a hypervigilant thinker is utterly beside the point. It creates multiple consciousnesses. It creates double selves all over the place. The more partitions you put up between yourself and the world, real, semantic, logical partitions, epistemic partitions, where there's a matter of knowledge asymmetry, where you know something that other people don't, or they know something that you don't, right? Well, that's the condition, that's the normal everyday human condition. Because most of what we know about ourselves are these really uncomfortable truths that we'd rather not have to talk about and we'd rather pretend are not there. And the more they are painful for us, perhaps then, and we don't know how to address them, we don't know how to talk about the things that are bothering us, and we've got lots of testosterone in our system, well, that is an explanation for the bad behavior of men. It is not an excuse or an alibi. It is it's a harsh critique. I mean it as a very harsh critique. Humans at this stage in our development and in the political situation we are in the world right now, the only fucking thing going for the United States of America is that we are more enlightened than other countries in the following way. Our peculiar sort of performative American individualism has been sanctified as the apotheosis of American freedom and fidelity to the Constitution. American individualism is sacred. So sacred that it could become conflated with religion as such. And I don't think that that should be done. But religion is another matter entirely. I will leave it with this, and it is a profoundly optimistic note. What other culture from any other nation or country in the world could be freely having this conversation right now about sexual candor in the style of Nikki Glaser and all our stand-up comics? Total confession, total transparency, total candor. This is a form of culture and a form of consciousness that gives Americans a profound multi-generational edge because of the books that we've read and the history that we've lived through. Americans know how to take seriously the concept of individual liberty in a way that no other nationality alive knows how to take seriously. You don't have to take my word for it. You know, everybody knows it. Too blessed to be stressed, motherfucker. Byzantium 2026. Pope Leo, represent.